Luffy's new 900-year-old strongest ally is finally here. The importance of the ancient robot continent puller has been confirmed and is about to battle all 5 of the Gorosei. Because let's be real, Gear 5 Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and even the giants are finding it pretty hard to stop them. But now, with this Iron Titan, things are about to change, giving our Straw Hats the perfect opportunity to escape to Elbaf.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening!
Vegapunk had already shocked the world multiple times with his message, but as he draws towards the end of his speech, it is becoming even more vital for the Gorosei to stop this broadcast. And to do that, they will need to turn their attention away from the Straw Hats and take on this behemoth of a robot.
Why?
And why? Well, Vegapunk's big-brained everything, deciding to hide the transponder snail inside of the ancient robot. Now, does that mean that Vegapunk has balls deep prediction hockey and knew Luffy's Joy Boy Nika fruit would resonate with this robot to finally awaken it from its deep slumber? Or, you know, like he indicated in chapter 1068, he gave us a Motherflame. Yep, that good shit is going to be fueling every single ancient technology that we're gonna see throughout the story. But Vegapunk still had to rely that destiny will play its hands, as Luffy's Joy Boy Nika aura definitely woke it up. Much like when Zunisha felt it, acknowledging the return of Joy Boy. Regardless, the world is erupting in fear. You know, can't really blame them after hearing that they're all gonna die. Hearing that there are still world-sinking weapons out there from a war that happened 800 years ago. They start questioning how this ancient conflict could still be raging on, and why it would be kept a secret for such a long time. However, even with everything Vegapunk had told them so far, there is no possible way for them to know that there at the peak of the Red Line was an even greater secret. Forget the war, these people still don't know about the ruler of the world, Emu D. Judas. But as things begin to collapse, you have to wonder how much longer will he be able to stay hidden, especially knowing that Dragon and the revolutionaries know of his existence. As Emu listens to the broadcast, we see him staring up at a portrait of someone who looks exactly like Vivi, Nefertari D. Lily, her ancient ancestor who had vanished all those years ago. Now, I gotta say, this is some insane level of gooning. However, this obsession might just give us a big hint towards the events that led us to the Great War against the Ancient Kingdom. Guys, I don't think it was about ideologies, freedom, or the control over the world. It was about a girl. Yep, let's be real, Joy Boy and Emu were probably best buddies before Lily came into the picture. Emu of course wanted to impress her. She forced his hands, but we all know what happened. Emu's 900-year-old trauma from getting friend-zoned has been shaping his decision till this day. She's gone, just let it go, bro.
Stop it. Get some help.
Regardless, Emu is mad as Vegapunk goes on to apologize for the creation of Motherflame. Though unfinished, even in its current state, it could have been eventually harnessed to ensure the entire world lived in abundance. We're talking unlimited energy. But he was careless and a fragment of his flame was stolen by York, who gave it to Emu, which in turn is pretty much a death sentence to everyone below the Red Line. Now quickly, I know that some of you might feel that Vegapunk's yapping feels a bit dragged on, but that's because we and you who have been in tune with our deep community already predicted Emu's theft of Uranus from the Ancient Kingdom, which we postulated Zunisha was in charge of guarding. His failure is what allowed this all to happen, hence why his master, being Momonosuke's grandfather, Futoki, ordered the elephant to walk on until he is given the command to stop. Honestly, he should have just drank some gamer subs and the great fumbling wouldn't have happened, which you guys can avoid by using the code ABD at the checkout, which will give you 10% off everything. Now I know that the second point of Vegapunk's yapping was to tell us Motherflame was the fuel, but we also predicted that 50 chapters ago. Joy Boy being the first pirate was also a given, considering the current world authority was unified by Emu and deemed his actions as unlawful, especially when he started to liberate slaves from ships that their kingdom would capture, as showcased in chapter 1018. All Vegapunk did was confirm what we already knew, but hey, at least he told us that the world is flooding, and now the Ancient Kingdom turned into Atlantis, protected by the Sea Kings. However, this broadcast is actually more than Oda reaffirming what he already alluded to. Rather, it's the entire world learning this history that's important. We see this with King Elizabello and the other nations in shock, even going out of the way to verify the destruction of Lulusia. We also see the celestial dragons and the marines in awe. They cannot believe what they're hearing. In fact, we come to Akainu, who literally is like, everything. You're going to explain everything. Vegapunk! I'm taking a piss. No, honestly, I found this very cryptic. Is he saying that he doesn't know everything and he wants Vegapunk to explain it? Or is he mad at Vegapunk for explaining everything? I just don't know. This could actually be very fundamental to his character, because if he doesn't know, he could be a person that goes on to support Sword against the government, causing an inner revolution. But if he didn't know everything, then he's just more of a scum. Because yes, you might hate pirates and every injustice they do, but the moment you start supporting another injustice, you become a hypocrite. His absolute justice starts falling apart. Regardless, all of these reactions is very important, as it foreshadows how the story of One Piece will end, because Luffy isn't supposed to save the world, rather he's there to liberate it, and the people of the world have to save themselves. However, elsewhere we get another emotional moment as Edison explains to Stussy that Gandhi Saab's insane slash at the Labo face has made it harder for the Straw Hats to escape, as they can't produce any more clouds for them to hop onto. But more importantly, Gorosei is heading her way, so Stussy should escape. But this clone has a deep existential crisis and now wants to die. Kids, don't be a Stussy. Live on, please. However, one thing she does showcase is her deep loyalty to those she cares about, including her friend Kaku, as she requests Edison to give her permission to let him go, which although a noble act, it doesn't help soothe the pain in Stussy's heart. But Edison says that this inner conflict is proof of her humanity and asks her to promise that regardless of what happens, she will keep on living. But before I start tearing up, let's head back to Vegapunk's message, where the poor geezer blames himself as an accessory to mass murder. I mean, he ain't wrong. No, seriously, the whole kingdom of Lulusia is indeed confirmed to be blown up to smithereens. Vegapunk is also going out of his way to not say that the world government did it, whilst also giving as many clues as possible for the general public to be able to reach to that conclusion on their own. Because as Vegapunk said last chapter, he is simply there to give the facts, not give his opinions on things he can't substantiate, like who is in the right, who is in the wrong, as this is the 900-year-old long conflict. Later, York would put this into question though, as she seems shocked by the idea of Vegapunk both hearing about the news of Lulusia and taking readings, because he wouldn't have time to do all of that without being informed of the government's plan. Even so, Vegapunk announces that he doesn't know the motives behind the attack, but he does know that it was his fault for allowing Motherflame to be stolen and used in such a way, so he bows down and apologizes to the entire world. But frankly, I do believe he knows that the government was behind the attack, hence knowing that they are there to kill him and so on and so forth, you know, he can come to that conclusion. But the reason he doesn't announce it is to prevent a bloodbath, because if everyone starts revolting against the government, yep, that's basically a world war. He believes that Luffy and those behind the scenes will be able to sort things out, especially after learning the full history of the world. In fact, that's what Vegapunk states, as he mentions that these ancient weapons weren't meant to be used in this way. Vegapunk states that it was said that Joy Boy attempted to ensure that they would be passed on to the future generations. This led Vegapunk to wonder, why would he do this? It is this idea of passing down these weapons which made him confused on who is good and who is evil in this conflict. Even if the world government are monsters, Joy Boy was going to pass along tools which would flood the world. And again, not having the full picture because, you know, the rest of the poneglyphs is in Laugh Tale, and of course Vegapunk doesn't have deep observation haki, he can't seem to understand that these ancient technologies were not meant to be actually weapons. They were tools used to build a better world. Funny enough, much like his Motherflame, like Pluton is a battleship with the ability to destroy any obstacle in its way, where it could have been used to tear down the Red Wall and unite the world. Poseidon is the princess who rules the Sea Kings, the power to pull the Noah to surface or pull the shards of the broken Red Line together together to form new islands, just as Wano had been created by connecting smaller islands, and Uranus' true purpose could have been used for terraforming or other means. However, whilst Vegapunk admits he doesn't know all the answers, there are people who do. For one, Akainu and Sengoku seem to know somewhat of what Vegapunk is yapping on, or at least they have been fed some version of the story by the Gorosei that paints them a much better light. But the ones that Vegapunk specifically talks about is Roger's crew, though when we see Rayleigh, he still seems uninterested in sharing what he knows, drinking heavily as he says that the older generation shouldn't take away the thrills of the younger generation by getting involved. Obviously, this is because Rayleigh, Roger and his crew read the poneglyphs left by Joy Boy in Laugh Tale, and like Madame Sharky, Joy Boy must have had a friend, or maybe himself, who could see way into the future. We're talking some next level future sight. This is why and how prophecies come to be, like the one Roger and Odin overheard the Sea King speak about when the two sovereigns will meet, referring to obviously Joy Boy in Luffy and Poseidon in Shirahoshi. Once Roger found out he was too early and it wasn't his fate to be the one to execute Joy Boy's mission, he left it to the next generation, also adopted by Rayleigh, who respected Roger's wishes along with Shanks. Other instructions were also passed down, like Odin's message to Wano about opening its borders. This is why Rayleigh understands that he doesn't need to take an active role. Rather, all he needs to do is just nudge them in the right direction by training Luffy. Now about this time is also when York finally realizes where the Den Mushi has been hidden, telling the Gorosei that the Iron Giant continent puller is guarding it, and so the Gorosei are about to declare all-out war with this ancient robot. But as we saw in chapter 1111, it spoke saying forgive me Joy Boy, showcasing the similar role it had with Zunisha, and it will also fulfill Joy Boy's wishes, likely being commanded by Luffy, or at least instinctively try to protect him. We also have to remember that apart from Motherflame, this giant continent puller robot is likely fueled by Haki. It is alive in the same way Mary and Enma had become living things after being infused by the will of their partners, just like Usopp could understand the Mary and Zoro could understand Enma. Luffy's voice of all things will connect him to the will of the Iron Giant, and working together he will send Luffy and his crew ahead to Elbaf, completing the task to shoot Sunny far away from the island which was meant for Vega Force 01. But of course, escaping the island is like a double-edged sword, because there is still one thing left on Egghead that the Gorosei would die to get their hands on, and neither Luffy nor the Iron Giant can allow that to happen. The world government had stolen a fragment of Motherflame, but the rest of it is still in the lab. Ideally, a theory over the last few weeks with Luffy absorbing the flame to become more like his inspiration, Hanuman, would be perfect. But if not, then a battle over the ability to fire Uranus potentially dozens of times is about to kick off.